All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of How to CAD Almost Anything. I'm super excited to be with all of you today, since this is, well, our fifth time teaching this class. And similarly to the last time that we taught this class on Siemens NX, we're first meeting virtually as we are right now. Hopefully, tomorrow, actually after the release of this video, we'll be meeting in person. But as you can probably tell, with the new format of this class is that I'll be releasing videos asynchronously first, and then I'll be repeating all of the content in person as we go. That being said, yes, welcome back to How to CAD Almost Anything. This edition of the class is all Disney themed, as you can already tell from the pictures in the front slide. And we're going to be CADing a variety of objects ranging from transportation heavy as the monorail and the Magic Kingdom Railroad to the Epcot sphere, the one that you can see here. That's also called Spaceship Earth. It's super interesting. And then, if you can see my mouse, we have Sorcerer Mickey. That's what we'll be doing today. We'll be making a mug with it. This in here is a drawing of the Astro Orbiter. That's one of the attractions in Tomorrowland. This in here is the Luxor Junior lamp, the Genie lamp, so two different types of lamps. Right here, the Scream canister from Monsters Inc., a commemorative coin, statue of Mickey. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on, and I'm super excited because this might also be the beginning of how to CAD versions of this class that are themed around something in particular. In this case, Disney. And if everything goes well towards the end of the next 3 weeks, the standard amount of weeks that we'll be teaching this class for, at least it became a standard after the next version, this past IAP, we'll be building a theme park where we'll be pretty much putting everything that we've gathered over the last few sessions in the same place. Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. We'll see as we go. And yeah, so between the stuff that I'll be CADing asynchronously in videos like this that you're going to be seeing before we meet in person, and the actual in-person videos where we'll be doing like more toned down versions of pretty much everything that goes in the syllabus, we'll have plenty of objects to include in this final theme park. So let's go ahead and get started. Session 1, right? Let me click in here. So the usual intro agenda. Why CAD? We'll get into that in just a moment. Hopefully tomorrow in the in-person session we'll be looking at a lot more of these things. We'll be doing a demo of the Solidworks command. I'll make a note on that in just a moment. And our projects for today will be the Sorcerer Mickey mug and the commemorative Disneyland coin. And more details on that coming up in a moment. So quick intros, nothing much to say that you don't know already. This is a picture that we took last IAP 2025. I'll go over this again tomorrow when we look at the actual video. And yeah, I think it's cool to CAD and just look at any object and say, right, maybe this is how I would make a 3D model out of this. That's the whole purpose. And when it comes to Disney, there's plenty of things that I think would be interesting to make 3D models of. Why can't? Here's a bunch of reasons. I thought they were fantastic. From becoming more proficient at CADing or more specific Disney things that you guys would like to do. As I mentioned on some previous email communications, I do think that many of the suggestions that you gave would be terrific, just ideas to teach an entire semester worth of a class for how to CAD. For instance, making Star Wars related things. I think that's gonna come up in IAP of next year. And I'll try to incorporate some of these as we go. We'll see. I think there's a ton, and cutting does take a lot of time, and we don't have like a ton of time to do these things. But we'll give it a shot. I think it's definitely feasible. At least, hopefully, with the skills that we'll be learning together, you'll be equipped to CAD many of these objects by yourselves. And then why SolidWorks? Well, the answer is pretty clear. In my mind, it's the lingua franca of CAD softwares. I think it's extremely universally used by all sorts of places, right? Industries, universities, research labs. Everybody knows SolidWorks. Even though that is not to say that if you already know how to use another CAD software, they're all pretty similar. And moving from one to the other one, it's about the same. I don't think it's too difficult. It's a very robust software, in my opinion. We've CADed the first edition of this class. We CADed using SolidWorks, so it's kind of nice to come back to it now After 4 iterations of this class, as you can see here on the open courseware, on Fusion, on Onshape, and on Siemens, because perhaps I think I've also gotten better at explaining some of these things. It's worth doing perhaps some updated videos a year and a half afterwards on some of these things, which I think teaching CAD is difficult. You always get better the more times you do it, but it's still a continuous improvement process. So yeah, so we'll give it a shot, and I think it's also fun. It's for some of the advanced modeling stuff that we'll be doing in this iteration of the class, these new objects. I think SolidWorks is the way to go. Speaking of which, welcome now to summer 2025. I'm super excited for what we have ahead, and that's exactly what we're going to see right here in this syllabus. So 3 weeks, standard as I said from what we've done in the Siemens NX version. These will be our meeting dates in person, and around the same time I'll be also releasing the asynchronous videos. Perhaps the most important thing to mention from here is that this is more of an advanced modeling. So yes, we will, if you're a beginner, hopefully we'll be touching upon the basics, but the reality is that we'll be going straight into I wouldn't say very difficult stuff, but we're going straight into the sauce, just trying to CAD pretty advanced things. We'll be spending today and also the next session looking at some of these commands, taking our time, mostly in the in-person as opposed to the now these asynchronous sessions. But you can already tell from we're already doing assemblies on the second session, so that you can see it's pretty quick, the learning curve. And then we'll go straight into a week that is going to be all railway themed, and then into this is going to be, in my opinion, one of the more difficult weeks. But we'll take it one step at a time. Um, and yes, we'll see how it goes. But this is in a nutshell. Then on a logistical point of view, these are our meeting times, 3 to 5 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, except last week, as you tell in the syllabus, because that's going to be a Friday due to Juneteenth, which falls on a Thursday. We'll be using the usual, as usual, like GitHub. I'll be posting everything in there. You can find there the syllabus that has a little bit more information about what we'll be touching on every course. And yes, this is a companion course, as this syllabus tells, to the IAP 2024. So it's more like, all right, you've learned SolidWorks, but you want a little bit more of a challenge. Well, perhaps this might be the workshop for you, where you can take it a step ahead and do some more complicated things, even more than you could see from these pictures. These are all objects that I carried in the Onshape version of this class exactly a year ago. So that was summer of 2024. So I think without further ado, I think I've spoken enough. I will continue speaking more, but now in SolidWorks, not in the PowerPoint. And these are our projects for today. So we'll start, I think I want to start more with this. So we'll make a mug where that is going to be themed around Sorcerer Mickey. So this is going to be like a label that you're going to be seeing wrapped around the mug. So it's going to be fun. Then we're going to make a coin that says Disneyland Paris. And on one side is gonna have this Mickey, and on the other side is also gonna have Sorcerer Mickey in here. So we'll see how that looks like. Um, we'll give it a shot. I'll try to explain as we go all of the different commands that we'll be using. In some points, as usual, I'll be speeding up the video. That way you don't have to see me canning all of these things. But you can already tell from these pictures, the core of today not only will be in and like learning some of the SolidWorks basic skills, but also this notion of the sketch picture and the master sketch, which we will be using a lot. Essentially bringing these pictures into our environment and tracing them out slowly. And yes, I kind of do want to replicate as many details as I can, so I'll take my time on this one, and that's when I'll speed up the video in particular. That being said, let's go to SolidWorks. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to go to remote desktop, and here we are in SolidWorks. So this is the very first time that you come to SolidWorks. This is the environment that you will be encountering, and the first thing it's gonna prompt you first to select whether you want to make a part or an assembly. An assembly is essentially many parts put together that they are interacting through a variety of constraints that we call mates. More on that on the next session, not now. For now, we're gonna focus on creating a part. So I just click on that. And maybe something very important that I'm gonna do which you all should totally do, is go here and create a folder where you're gonna be saving all of these parts. So for me, let's see if I can find user data 13, or let me find an appropriate place where I can save these things. No, here. No, not that. There we go. I just save the file in a folder. I'm not sure whether this is always going to be the place where I'll be saving my parts, but just in case, you create a folder wherever it may be that you're working on. And always don't forget to not only save your piece, but send it to your email afterwards, that way you can use it. So let's get started. So the first thing, this is essentially how the SolidWorks environment looks like. I think it's pretty simple overall. And to get started, we'll go to this button over here that's called Sketch. So you click right there, and then there's this button that's called Sketch. So we'll click right over there, and it's gonna ask you to select a plane. So you have a front plane, top plane, right plane. It really doesn't matter which one you choose for at the beginning, but it's essentially gonna be the 2D flat area where you're gonna start drawing lines. So I can go here to the top plane, and you see these two little red arrows appear. These represent the origin. So pretty much anything that you draw, you probably want to reference it with respect to the origin. So that side, that point in there is 0, 0. So if you think of it as a Cartesian plane, mathematically, every line has a different coordinate, and it's always going to be with respect to this point. Now, let me show you what I mean by that in just a second. So I can go here and get a line. And if I draw a random line like that, all right, so that line is defined by this point. It's going to be defined by that point over there. But you see the color of this line is blue. So what I would probably do in order to define this line is go right here to that little triangle right there. And it gives me the option to create a center line. So I click in center line, and I can say, all right, I want that point to, well, actually just when I go back again here, this point and this point to be connected, and also that point and that point to be connected. I'm clicking escape to escape that command, and you see it's still blue, and I can drag around these points. So the fact that it's still blue means that it's completely undefined. It's not fixed in space. So if I wanted to actually define this, I could say, I could use a fun thing. There's this command in here that's called Smart Dimension. I can click over there, click on this line, and then, for instance, maybe click on the axis right over. Actually, before I click on the axis, it's always worth doing something else. I want to create another center line that goes just like this. So this one, as you can see, let me repeat that just a moment. So I put a center line, and you see how suddenly, there's different yellow lines that appear. These yellow lines, dashed lines, they represent constraints. And they're saying, all right, maybe you could, if you were to go in that direction, it would be parallel. If you were to go in that direction, it would be perpendicular to this one right there. But I want to go like this, and you see there's a little yellow box that appears with a dashed, well, it's just a black line that indicates that this is parallel to the origin. So I'm going to do that, and then I go to Smart Dimension. I give it any dimension, it doesn't matter. As you can tell, it says 52.61. If I go here to down here where it says custom, you see that everything that we're doing is in millimeter. As an example, it could be in inches, it could be whatever you want. You can change it and customize it. But you see how this line turned black. So that means that this line is fully defined. In fact, if I were to drag that point, I just cannot move it in space. So with that being said, what I can do is click on this line, click on this other line, and give it an angle and say, all right, 30. So you see how now that line became defined, but that point in there is still blue, which means, what does that mean? That I can drag this point back and forth along the line that is defined by that angle right there. So if I wanted to fully define this line, what I would do is give it a length and say, all right, 50. I can make that 52. And I can do the exact same thing with this. For instance, this line, I can give it a length of 85. But you see, when the line is defined, I can still move it. Yeah, so now what I've done is essentially tracing like a circle, right? So you can see how I can move this one around, boom, all like that. But if I wanted to fully constrain it, I would draw a circle. I would click on the line, then on that line, and I can give it an angle. For instance, 120 degrees. So now everything became black. So that's essentially the basics of the sketch environment. You always want to make sure that your sketches look black, and to make them look black, you have to fully define everything with respect to the origin. How you do that? Once again, you go to this little triangle on the line and you use center lines. That's the main purpose of them. So solid dashed lines, their purpose are the following one. I can get another line. For instance, I'm gonna finish building this polygon, and now you suddenly see that this became shaded on the following, I guess it's like a violet color. These four lines are still undefined, which means I can move them around, but that the whole point of dashed center lines versus solid black lines is the fact that you would use them to create a polygon like this, which afterwards you could give some volume, you can do a bunch of things with this. So for instance, I can go here to smart dimension, and I'm gonna define all of these units that way. There we go. Not only with angles, I could also say, right, I want the, like this, the horizontal distance to be 94, and then the vertical distance to be 26, as an example. I could then go to that angle, 80, and that's about it. That's all the dimensions. So now that is fully shaded. There's a number of things that you can draw besides just lines. You could also explicitly draw rectangles. For instance, there's multiple options of a rectangle you could draw. One where it's defined by 2 points, one where it's like, right, you find the center and then you define the line. We'll be using all of these throughout the next couple of weeks. I'm not gonna draw them right now, but it's just to show you the different options. Here with a circle, the most typical one is, say, I have a, let me actually draw it. I can draw it inside, for instance. I can draw a circle like this, where you have a point, and you see it's still undefined, right? Because I haven't told it, right, where's that point with respect to the origin, and let alone the radius as well. So if I want to define this circle, I go to center line, and I can go like that, and say, all right, I want this distance to be 61, then that radius to be 50, and then this in here to be 20, as an example, right? So there you have your fully defined circle. You can do ellipses, and we'll be doing splines. Splines is something that's going to come back later, so not something important. And then polygon, this is right. What if I wanted to, I can actually change in here the number of sides to make it 8, or I can make it 20. Just something interesting. You could either do it like this, or you could honestly make it yourself. Like, it's actually very simple, and I can show you in a moment how you can make a regular polygon. So you have, this is pretty simple. So then once you reach this point, what you can do is start extruding. And pretty much the focus of today will be about extrusions. And we'll be focusing on that while we work on our projects. I will be illustrating how you can be using all of these different tools. So if I go here to extrude, I can give this some volume. I can say that, all right, that's 20. And voila, the solid area that we created before, now that acted as a polygon from where we can give this volume in 3D. Now, what you can do from here is go to special commands. Some of the ones we're going to be focusing on this one, particularly today, which is the fillet. What that does is that I can click in here and say, right, I want that, instead of being sharp, I want it to be circular. So let's see whether it allows us to do that. I can go here to where it says full preview to see what would that circular shape look like. maybe give it 20, and voila. That looks pretty round right there. That's an example. Another one that you could do is this one that's called extruded cut. So now so to illustrate that one, let me show you another concept, which is the one where, yes, we have this, and now in a similar way that, for instance, for a cake, which was one of the very first demos that we would do in this class, is that a cake has multiple layers, right? So I can go here to sketch, and then now it's gonna ask you again to select a plane. You could, if you go to the little triangle, you could select again the very first three planes that we were given the choice at the beginning, or I can just say, all right, I want this face right here. And again, the origin appears there. That's consistent with the origin that we originally used. By the way, the first plane that we used was this face right here. Now we are working on this face. And maybe you are wondering, how am I moving around like this, which is called the pan command. To pan, you can right click, and well, actually not in here, but if you look at the in your mouse, it's just you have to press on the ball of your mouse. That's how you are able to pan around. And that's something important to mention. It's not trivial. But I can do, say, another circle. Or actually, I told you I was gonna draw for you a polygon, right? So suppose I draw a center line that goes up like that. As you saw, this little green rectangle represents a constraint. It's saying that this is parallel to the red axis in here. Then I go to Smart Dimension, click in there, give it 20. So now you're like, all right, what if I want to create a polygon that has 20 sides as an example? Well, that's actually very simple to do. I can create another center line that goes like that. And now if I click on this line and then I hold Control on your keyboard and you click on this one, these are the constraints that appear. For instance, I can say, right, I want these two lines to be identical. So I say, let's make them equal. And I'm going to illustrate these constraints a little bit more later on as we go through the class. You could have made them, all right, what if let me actually delete that one. What if I want to make them parallel? Actually, I do not want to make them parallel. I'm going to delete that one too. Let's see if I can move it around. Oh, I'm going to go Control Z. There we go. Because otherwise, like once it's parallel, it's difficult to find where it is. I can also make them collinear, which means another one that is an important one. Then perpendicular as well. I could also make them, let's see. Well, I'm gonna leave them as equal because that's what I want right now. And then you see it's still blue. And why is it still blue? Because I can just drag it around. Now, what I could do is go here to these two lines and say, right, 20-sided polygon. So that means that we can divide 360 by 20. And that's exactly what we get right there. So I'm gonna click on this line and just go like that. And then there's this little command, which this is the only time I'll use it today, I believe, but it's called circular sketch pattern. And what you could do is, all right, I want to do a pattern of this, and that. And the point that I want to do it again around is there, the origin. And we're gonna say 20. And let's click OK. And see how now we have that 20-sided polygon. And then I can go to features, extrude cut, and we can say yes. You could either say blind, in which case, right, go exactly 20. I can also say through all, in which case it's gonna cut all throughout this piece, among some other options. I say okay. Yeah, all bodies, that's fine. Oh, I see, because let me go. I'm gonna say you don't like the result of how this looks like we just have it right now. I can either right click here and edit, or right click here and delete. I'm gonna actually delete because I don't want this. I'm gonna go back to this sketch right over here, and I'm gonna try to understand why it's giving this error right here. Well, I was just trying a bunch, trying to figure out what was going on in here. I'm not sure why this doesn't want to work, but well, the good thing about SolidWorks and just debugging in general, just being honest with you, is that there's lots of ways to solve an issue even when it doesn't work. And in a case like this one, which is kind of a bummer why it doesn't work, well, what I would do is I would just create a little wedge like that. Then I would do a little circle just like this. Let's make it 4, for instance. And I'm gonna extrude this. Um, Actually, what I wanted to illustrate is the extrude cut. So I can extrude this downwards by, let's say, 5 as an example, right? I'm gonna say, okay, good. So you have that little symbol, which looks kind of neat, but then you can go here to where it says circular pattern, and I can say, all right, what I would like to make a pattern of is this thing. The direction is going to be also right here. That's also why I made it circular. And I can say that I want equal spacing. I want 20 of these. And I can say, okay. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. In fact, this version might be a little bit easier. And this is just a feature version of the circular pattern, but nothing to be too worried about. Now, I want to go straight into today's projects because I think that they're going to take a good amount of time. And as we go, I'll be illustrating the different concepts. So I'm going to actually go here. By the way, just one last thing I will say is that if you look at this and you say, all right, I actually want this to be a little bit higher, then you can right click in here, edit feature, and say, all right, let's make that 40 millimeters as an example. And the same thing with this diameter here. Say, suppose you wanted that circle to be slightly bigger. Then you go to this little right rectangle, right click on sketch 2, edit. And I can go here and say, all right, let's make that 25 as an example and exit. And because everything is fully defined, everything will update automatically. And that's the beauty of Solidworks in here. And pretty much any parametric software, that's what it does. It's storing all of these dimensions and coordinates. That's why so much emphasis at the very beginning in trying to define everything. And one perhaps last little detail in here is that you see that next to sketch 1, there is a, well, there's nothing in there, which is good because let me show actually how it would look like otherwise. So say I go to sketch 2, I'm editing this, and let me remove that 25. I'll say right click there, delete. So you see how everything becomes blue and whatnot. I'm gonna right click in here and see how now suddenly there's that little negative sign. That negative minus sign, what it represents is that that sketch is not fully defined. So whenever you update things, you have to be careful because things might mess up. Anyways, this is just a little bit of overview, nothing too exhaustive. Hopefully between this and prior videos, things will be clear. If not, feel free to ask any sort of thing. I would be more than happy to answer. But I'm gonna get rid of this because I do not want it. And obviously, because I deleted the very first thing, everything else below it will be deleted. Actually, let me illustrate that in a moment. I did Control Z to come back to this point. This right here is called the feature tree. And there's a number of items that fall in here. So we have the boss extrude, which is the first one. Then that fillet right there. If you click it, it's going to highlight where in the part we are. Then the original cut, and then the circular pattern that gave us that 20-sided polygon. Um, I can move these around if I wanted to. For instance, I could bring the fillet to the very end. It's just the order of operations, right? It's gonna kind of affect the overall result. Um, in this particular case, there's nothing too important to see, but I think it's just like an interesting thing to note. And if I were to delete this item, pretty much everything else it is dependent on this because this is the very first layer. So that's why you have to be careful whenever you're editing, deleting stuff. Make sure to see right what might happen, and also save your parts. Maybe create multiple copies of your part if you want to make edits of them. You can also right click in here and say rename, and I'm gonna call this the base as an example. That way it's pretty clear what each one of these different features represent. Anyways, I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna delete this as well. So the purpose of today is we're gonna start rather simple but also rather hard by making a sorcerer Mickey mug. So I'm gonna go right here. There we go. So we have this pretty nice drawing of Mickey. I mean, it looks nice. So and the overall strategy is that we're gonna save this picture. We're gonna import it into SolidWorks and we're gonna start tracing it around. The process of actually tracing it around, I'll probably make it go quicker. That way you're not bored with that. But the whole idea is that we're gonna create a sketch, just a single sketch where you'll have Mickey in there. So I'm gonna see if I can save this picture as a JPEG. Very good. Let's see, where's my folder? I ended up creating it in here. I think I created it in here. Well, it's not in there. User data, it's not there. Oh, I see. I'll just leave it in downloads, it's okay. So I'll save that picture, very good. Now I'm gonna come here. So we're gonna go to sketch, as we go top plane, and I'll go here to tools, oh, tools, sketch tools, and then sketch picture, which should be, there we go, down here. And I click in there, and where it says downloads, I bring this picture, I click on open, and boom, here we got our sorcerer Mickey. Now, I like to think that dimensions honestly don't matter, like how big you see the picture is 400, I can make it like that. The reality is that we can always scale objects at the beginning or at the end, so I'll just leave it like this. I'll click OK. And now the star of the show is gonna be this command which I briefly mentioned called spline. So spline is just, as the name implies, it's just a line that has a non-straight path, and it's just built by establishing the dots through which that line is gonna pass through. For instance, I can make a spline that goes all the way through the hat, and I can just draw it like this. The more points I put, by the way, that's gonna result in a way better quality result. So I can just draw it like that, go like this, and probably in a sharp curvature change like that one, I would click escape and just leave the spline as it is. Maybe you can click on a point, you can drag it, you can adjust the shape of the spline. If you don't like it, just like that. That way you're satisfied with the result. For instance, I can continue drawing the spline right here. You see how I'm adding a good amount of points. That way it looks kind of neat. And there we go. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can just leave it like that. So I'm just gonna make the hat to illustrate something that is that will save us all a lot of time in a moment. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. So you see how there's like a uniform black line in here. It goes all the way like that. I'm not gonna, well, I could actually model it in here, where it says there's this command called offset entities. So if I click in here, let me show you what it does. So you see how it creates an exact same replica of the line that we drew, just offset by some amount. So I can say 1 millimeter, for instance, reverse the direction, and you see how it's creating that exact same path. Let's make it 2, for instance. And 2 seems rather appropriate. There we go. And yes, it follows the line quite well. Maybe I will need to make it there too, but it's saving us a little bit of time, and I think that's important, right? Whenever you're drawing these things, you want to be efficient. Maybe here I may have, if I were to adjust this, you see how the one that is offset also adjusts itself. Yeah, that looks all right. So that's exactly what I'll be doing. I'll be using a combination of that tool, the spline and the straight line, to trace essentially all of this Mickey. And I'll do it on the same sketch. So bear with me. I'm gonna speed it up from now, and I'll come back once I'm done. right, so it took a while to sketch out pretty much all of this Mickey in here, but I think it looks decent. So this is a sketched out just Sorcerer Mickey. We've used a ton of splines to get all of this outline right there. What I could do is I could suppress this picture. That way you can see, all right, this is the Mickey in here. And now the idea is to take this thing and try to project it into into something that would be like cylindrical in nature. In this case, a vase. Well, it would be like to make the mug. Let me just show you the picture 1 second in here just to make sure that yes. Oh, actually, I just realized I forgot the stars. I'm gonna do that right now. So I can go here to edit, and I'm gonna add the stars real quick, just like this. Just 1 moment. I'm doing it rather coarse and rather quick. So this is the sort of reason, well, this is really the reason why not only I speed up this process because it's just tedious, but also why in the in-person sessions we end up doing way more toned down versions of these things. But the reality is that CAD takes a lot of time, and it just brings back to life this saying that goes that you will get out of it as much as you put into it. And that's exactly the truth. The more time that you spend doing this and the more details that you add, the better it's gonna go. The only problem, well, every time I do this, especially the technique that the first one that I'm gonna try right now, is that you never know whether it's gonna work or not. So I hopefully all of the work that we've done won't go in vain. At least we'll definitely use it to make the commemorative coins, which by the way will be way easier to design than I think Sorcerer like this mag. That's why we start with the mag because it's a little bit more challenging. The core of tracing everything out is gonna be the same. For the coin, it's a little bit easier. The amount of tracing that we need to do is gonna go way quicker than this. But this will be able to recycle later on for other things. And all of this is going. I'm gonna upload all of these files anyways afterwards online, so you can use them for whatever you want. You can practice with them. And as you can see, I'm being quite quick with my tracing of lines. So hopefully the result is gonna look okay from a distance, but probably the closer you get, the more that you will realize that it's some details could be better. But I think now that's good. We have the hat and everything. It's a ton of lines. So now here's where the fun begins. So we are gonna do the following thing. First, save this. Then the next step in this process is to go here to where it says features, reference geometry, plane. So we're gonna create a plane that is parallel to this one plane in here. So we started working on the top plane. So I'm gonna create a plane that is, let's say, 100, no, maybe let's do 1,000 in the opposite direction. Let's see. Yeah, 1,000 might be too much. Let's do 500. There we go. Okay, good. That's where I want this to go. So now I can go here to sketch. Yes, I am on that plane. And that corner in here represents, so the origin of that plane is the corner in here, according to our coordinates when we started doing this tracing. So I'm gonna draw a center line. It's gonna go just like this. So this picture is 400 by 400. That's probably the only reason why it's important to remember the dimensions, because this way I know that if I trace a line that is 200 long, then that's going to be right in the middle of this picture. And I'm going to make this one 400, which is the height of this thing. I'll probably make it a little bit more. So here's what I'll do. I'll draw a line that goes like this. I'll make that 450. Very good, just like that. Maybe 500. There we go, just like that. And then we are gonna, yes, that 200, just like 200. So now we have a pretty much a rectangle, and it's all black as we said at the beginning. This is fully defined. So you can go to where it says features, and we're gonna learn a command that's called revolve. Very, very simple in nature. You just go here to, actually, before I do the revolve again, I'm gonna make I'm gonna make those construct. I just right clicked on this line and I make it a construction geometry, which is a traced line. Because the reason why I'm doing that is because I can go here to, I want to make this hollow, like an L shape. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment, because I go to smart dimension, I can make that thickness be, let's say, 20. Why not? Same thing here, 20. Actually, 20 might be a little too little, let's say 30. Just like that. Okay, now yes, I'm happy with this. Now if I go to features, revolve, and I want to revolve along that axis, so it's gonna create like a cup. That's what we want, a cup. Excellent. So now we have a cup that is parallel to our Mickey, and I'm just gonna drop it there. Okay, that's good. So now here's where the magic, quite literally, of Disney begins. So we have to be careful. So we're gonna look up here the wrap. Actually, before we do anything, I'm gonna create a new sketch. I'm sketching here, and I'm gonna create this sketch on our original top plane. Good. So what do I want to put in this sketch? Well, we're going to start building this Mickey layers by layers. So I'm going to start by creating pretty much all of the outline and then adding a couple more details. So the nice thing is that essentially it's as if someone had grabbed a brush, a black deep brush, and traced out all the outline of the Mickey. So I'm gonna go on this sketch. There's a command that's called convert entities, and essentially what I'm gonna do is just bring to this sketch. I'll explain all of this again every time I use it because it's a little bit non-intuitive, but it's essentially bringing stuff from one sketch to another one, the one I'm working on right now. In this case, it's as if you were doing a one-to-one projection. You'll see what I mean. So I go here to convert entities, and I'm gonna convert pretty much. I'm gonna start by converting all of the outline. I can select the chain actually. If I were to click there, okay, it selects all of the that's good. So if it selects all of the chain properly, it means that everything is connected. So that's very important. I click OK, and now that I've done that, what it allows me to do is that then I go to features, and I think it's right. I think I can actually exit. Let me find this command that's called wrap. So what does wrap do? So I have sketch 5. That's the sketch that we just selected all of the outline of our Mickey in here. And then it's asking me for a surface. I'm going to select that surface. And see how now Mickey is being projected into this surface right there. That's the overall outline of our little Mickey in here. And I can say, yes, I want this to be projected outwards by 1 millimeter. And I click on OK. So let's see what it does. Oh, very nice. It just created an outline of Mickey right there, which is pretty. Let's go here now to sketch. Now I'm gonna select again the where I was working on originate top plane. And now again using the convert entities, I'm gonna select I'm gonna continue just selecting stuff in general. So I'll continue with this. So now I'm gonna extrude inwards, and you'll see what all of this stuff is gonna how I'm gonna be building this slowly. So I come with that. Then I'm gonna, all right, so I'm doing, so essentially I wanna leave all of the stuff that is black. Maybe I can convert this outline in there. Yes, I think that might work. Well, you have to be careful. All right, that should work. Convert, that should work too. This should work as well. Convert as well. Very good. Um, yes, I'm like all of the work that we've done, it will pay off because it's hopefully it's gonna be quite easy, honestly, to bring this downwards. But we'll see. Just gonna bring this there, convert. here. By the way, you don't have to do this whole like I'm doing it in a single pass. Like maybe it might be worth doing it layer by layer. But I'm a little bit ambitious. I like trying stuff like this, so we'll give it a shot. But essentially, now we're gonna leave all of the black lines. They're all gonna remain in a single layer. All right, so that hand was pretty convenient. It's gonna come out like that. I'm gonna leave all of this stuff in the middle for last because I think it's not trivial. Very good. Like that. I'm gonna convert that to. Then the next chance will be coloring all of this stuff. Also, it helps that the stuff where we are projecting all of this thing, all of the. Oh, I realized I did forget that shoe, but that's a good point where I could draw it right now. This tiny detail right there. There we go. Very good. Okay, I think we're gonna leave it like this. And then we're gonna, oh, actually, I could do the tongue as well. Okay. Let's see. Maybe this is a good moment to just hide this to see. Right, that's okay. We have a ton of stuff that we're gonna essentially cut away from here. So let's see. Let's go here to wrap, and now I'm gonna choose this sketch. I'm gonna go here. Now we're gonna cut, and let's see whether it wants to work or not. Um, if it doesn't work, we'll probably need to do it step by step. Yes, we have one layer there, another layer here, and maybe stuff like that might be making it tricky to. Let me just edit this for a moment. I am gonna. I don't want this. Probably that as well. I want. Right, so that should be. Yeah, the full face should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, I realized what's gonna. Should probably close it there. You see like now how to become shaded. So that's the nice thing about the shadedness per se. That gives you good. It's a good sanity check to see whether things are actually connected or not. I need to figure out where this might be open. That's fine. That's mostly fine. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'll make those details on the next cut. Yeah, this all looks good. I just need to figure out where could this be open. Um, yeah, this is all like the same piece. Sometimes a good way of doing it is if um, where this. Mm, 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 mm. It is kind of difficult to find. Actually, maybe again, just exit the sketch. Let's try wrap. No, it's not gonna work. The face is still There's something about the face that is open. So let's debug it. Well, there we go. At least I didn't remove the face. But the more important thing is that, well, fortunately, the results are pretty nice so far. As for adding all of these details in here, way better than what I expected. So it's paying off all of this good effort in here of putting the sorcerer Mickey in its beautiful mug right here. So let's continue adding a couple more details. So let me just show that in there. I do want to suppress the picture, but otherwise it's hard to see. So I can, I know I do need the picture. Okay, so now we're gonna, I do want to figure out, let's add the stars for now. So let's go here to sketch, not that sketch. Um, there we go, that face in here. We got the broom, so we can add, for instance, I'm gonna add details like the moon in here. Um, yeah, so that arm looks pretty alright, honestly, in terms of colors. Like that's black, that's supposed to be red. Um, Over here, I think that's pretty alright. Oh, I should add that in there. I'm gonna add this in here. Then I'll add this spline that would go right in here. Very nice. Okay, then I think those details are right there. Good. Yes, I'll figure out the face in a second. Let's add these details in here. So convert entities. I'll use select chain, that way my life is a little bit easier. Convert entities to 3, 4, 5. No, oh, actually, here. I only wanna, all right, I'll just convert that, and then I'll make another one separate for, there we go. There, that, just like that. Because the hat, as far as I can tell, goes like that. Actually, I won't do the stars yet. I'll do them on the next one. Just like that. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, here, these guys right there. So I'm gonna convert. There we go. Yeah, this. Oh, those guys right like that. Um, so yes, I think that's okay. Check that. Boom. Okay, exit sketch. We're gonna hide this, otherwise I can see a thing. And now let's go here to wrap. We're gonna select this face. It's gonna be this. And let's see. Actually, it might not be that face, might be here. Just thinking for a moment. Oh, I see what's going on. I forgot to, it's not closed. I need to show this again, edit the sketch, and add convert entities, that and that. Otherwise, yes, this is for sure not gonna work. Actually, now it might. Let's go here again to wrap this thing around. Say here. Um, I think actually what I might end up doing is I'm gonna get these guys. I'm gonna get rid of that and say delete. Okay, this is where I leave it for now in terms of the sorcerer Mickey, like just in terms of decoration. Now I think it's time to start coloring this, giving it a little bit of life. So we're gonna start, the easiest way to do that is if I right click in here and I say, for instance, face, I can make that blue or something that wants to attempts to be blue. Maybe I think this is a more realistic blue. All right, so that's everything that is blue. Now, if I click on face, and I'm gonna make that just black like that, okay, that looks actually mostly fine, but you see that there's some, oh, because I forgot the details at the belt. Yes, there's some stuff in here that I need to add in terms of the wrap, so I'm gonna do that actually right now. Okay, I'm gonna actually I will continue adding a little bit more colors and then I'll add the final wrap details. So that's supposed to be like that. Then let's add everything that is supposed to be white. That's the eyes, that's that. It will be the moon. I was struggling with the moon, but I'll leave it there just so that we don't waste too much time doing that. I mean, the fingers look decentish. What is this, white? That looks alright. Then the robe is red. So let's make that reddish like that. Not the face, but definitely the tongue. And it's supposed to be a little bit darker red. So I'll change that in a second. Just like that. That's dark red in there. And that's yellow. I'll make that a face. dark red. Kind of like it. It doesn't look too bad. Or sorcerer Mickey Mag. As an approximation, right? To here. I'm gonna go to face. Let's make that. No, these are orange, like this. Meanwhile, that's yellow. Face. Maybe that yellow is nicer. And that's the belt is orange too. And the face is pink. That's gonna be a fun color. Let's see. Face. Oh, where do I find maybe that pink might do the trick. Actually, that looks kind of decent. I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, let's finish the belt details, which is this big circle in there. So let's go here to sketch. As if we learned properly how to do this. So the ones that I'm gonna convert are this one right here and these big guys like this. And then I'll take care of those details afterwards. So I'm gonna leave it. Well, actually, should I? Yes, I might do these guys too. Okay, good. So I'm gonna go here to exit, and now we'll go to wrap. And technically, if I were to click on that build, it might work. Let's see. Okay, good. Inwards, terrific, just like that. Okay, very good. And now let's do one last sketch on the top plane. And I'm gonna select all of those circles in there. So convert, not that point. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not the nicest circles, but they are all right. I'm just going to do wrap, and now we're gonna select this face right there. Oh, it should be parallel. I see. Um, oh, we might leave it like this actually. Let's see, face. Yeah, that's decent enough. It's not a perfect, but it's a good approximation. Now I can actually hide this thing in here and speak a little bit more because I've been silent just trying to debug many of these things. Again, I'm gonna hide these sketches. I'll just hide. And there it is. This is at least this is a cup that has the sorcerer Mickey as a wrap around it. I think for being the first time, oh, that should probably be dark red as well. Let's change that. There we go. That way it looks good. Yeah, so this looks alright as a low fidelity approximation. I can make that. Yes, exactly. There we go. And so we're gonna make our cap be just like this. I'm gonna hide that plane. Yeah, so now we can go here to features to where it says fillet, and we can make that round. We can make that. Well, yeah, I think that's fine. And then I'm gonna color that in just a moment. I can come back to the original version of this cup, right? If we go to our very, very first sketch, here, instead of making that 450, where was it? In here, oh, 500. I could have made that 450. Let's see what happens. Exit. Let's see whether it complains after. Oh, perfectly. So now it's like a little bit nicer, the dimensions. And I can add now a good old handle in here, right? Because otherwise this doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not going to be quite a cup from where you could drink from. So the way to do that is if first let me save, then we go to our original plane, so that cuts this in half. So you can do a sketch right here, and we can just add a little line that goes like this, another little line that goes like that, and then a semicircle. Oh, semicircle that goes just like that. And then we can do offset entities, let's say 30, and maybe more. 40. There we go, just like that. That's perfect. And I'm gonna, oh, excellent. Actually, not quite. I'm gonna make a slight semicircle like this, and you'll see why, because I want this to be able to intersect our mag in here. I've told you guys that we have to define, and I'm gonna define that to be 50. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Very good, just like that. Excellent. And now we can exactly extend in both directions. So we can say 30, and then so you see how it's intersecting, which is what I wanted. I can say 30 in that direction too. Perfect. You see, yes, just, yeah, that's decent. I think if I were to add a fillet in here, maybe a fillet, there we go. Mm, actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna delete, yes. I don't want that yet. There we go. I will extend this like that. Perfect. Doesn't matter, but we said our thickness was 30 anyways inside, so this should be fine. Excellent, just like that. Well, just in case I had the dimension, it's all dark, exit. So now that detail that we saw there disappears. Perfect. And now we could go here to fillet and click in there and make a nice round edge that connects everything together. There we go. 30. Perfectly. So now, yes, this is kind of starting to look a little bit nicer than what we had before. Maybe let's make that 10. Let's make that 10 as well. Good. And then I'm gonna flip that to be 30. And you could like add more decoration, right? You could add like the Disney symbol in there. I mean, that looks kind of cute. And I'm gonna change now the colors of all of these faces to be, if that was cyan, we can make all of this green. I'm changing it manually. I could have also changed it non-manually. Maybe something like that. There we go. Make the base everything green like that. But I do want that one to still be cyan. Change it. There we go. The blue. Okay, that is actually, in a nutshell, how you would do the sorcerer Mickey Maggie. Well, it took a while, but it was mostly getting all of the details of this done. However, now we're gonna come back to this in just a moment when we do the coin, because we can do something very similar with this, even easier, honestly. Actually, to make the coin is super simple from here. But I'm gonna save this and we can take a break. And we'll be back in a moment to make the commemorative coin. Alrighty, now we're back from our break. So now we're gonna continue by making the coin. And actually the coin is gonna be way easier than what making this mug was. And the reason for this is because here we look at the pictures that we have. The coin design that I have in mind is essentially the following one, where I just want to have this picture in here to trace the Disneyland Paris logo. That's essentially pretty much it. So that shouldn't take a lot of time. It's a very specific font, so we can use this as opposed to the standard font that is available on SolidWorks. Then I do want to draw one more time the Mickey face. Hopefully this is gonna be way simpler, right, than the Mickey on the sorcerer in here. I think that one was definitely a lot of work. This one should be, I think, way simpler. Even though the smile looks kind of tricky, it's a lot of repetition, as you can tell, right? It's like over and over and over again, the exact same thing, but just the face, not the established and whatnot. And then we can play around by making nice patterns. And then on the back side of the coin, I do want to put a picture of Sorcerer Mickey since we already have it from here, right? So why not include it one more time? And I have an idea of a creative way of doing that. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna first save this image in here. In downloads, let's call it Mickey face. I'm gonna save it there. Let's save this one as, oh, this one I think I might need to do I think it's snip. There we go. New. And I'm gonna just snip right there. Excellent. Save. Also in downloads, I'm gonna call it Disneyland Paris coin. This is Paris logo. Save. That's good. So let's leave it like that. So now I'm gonna go here to new, file, new, and part. So we have our Sorcerer Mickey mug, and I'll be uploading that in case you wanna play with this. Otherwise, I'm gonna continue with this. So I'll go here to sketch, sketch, top plane as usual, and then tools, sketch tools. Here are sketch tools, and now sketch picture. And the one that we're gonna bring is first the logo. Right here, and we can make it maybe, let's say 300. It doesn't matter really, as usual. Yeah, that looks about right. I'm gonna say okay, and now I'll make a bunch of center lines in here to approximately locate the center of this circle, right? I'm gonna draw a circle like this. There we go, that looks about right. And I'm gonna provide a number of dimensions. Let's say 145, and here 150. Yeah, maybe that could be 152, right? And I can leave the coin like that. Okay, that is approximately where I would like that to be, and we can make that 300. Excellent. So now, business as usual, we're gonna start tracing the Disneyland logo. Maybe actually I could draw, a little bit like the contour of this coin. That way, suppose I do want a little bit of thickness in there. Okay. So now yes, I'm gonna draw Disneyland in here. We're using the spline tool. And that's pretty much it, because all of this stuff, well, it's very pretty. I'm gonna leave it maybe as an exercise to the reader for you to try tracing out, say, the Eiffel Tower and that Mickey logo in there. We'll try the easier phase. So let's do the spline. So yeah, from now onwards, I'll speed it up. That way you don't get bored seeing me do this. So I'll come back once I'm done. Okay, so now at least we're done with the Disneyland Paris world, so we can start adding some layers to this. So this is gonna be a lot easier than the Mac per se because we're gonna be building as a cake, layer by layer. So, but what it's similar though is this concept of, right, I did this sketch, which I would call the master sketch, and then I'm gonna leave just as is, for instance. I'll click here actually not here, I'll just go here to new sketch, and I will do a sketch also in the top plane, and I'm gonna convert entity, say that circle as an example, and I'm gonna give it a depth of, let's say, 20 as an example, right? I give it 20 like that, and then I go here to sketch, top face, I'll convert entities, I'll convert just that one right there, and now I'm gonna extrude by, say, 5 as an example. So now you have a nice little layer in here. Meanwhile, I can go here to sketch, sketch face, and I'm gonna convert pretty much all of the text that we got in here. So I'll go slowly, selecting each one of these splines. And fortunately, we're not going to use the wrap command. The wrap is kind of too complicated. We'll be just extruding. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. We'll be just extruding upwards. And hopefully that should go by pretty smoothly. As you can see, whenever you're working with splines, none of these sketches are going to be fully defined, as I said at the beginning, but that's okay. That's probably the only instance where it would be allowed not to have fully defined sketches. I'll say okay, and now I'm going to go here to extrude, and I'm going to extrude this upwards by, say, just 2 millimeters, like that. And now I can hide everything. So that's how it looks like. So it looks alright. Obviously I think the D is probably the letter that I've done the best out of all of these. I'm trying to do them quickly, but that's alright because I think we're gonna improve a little bit how this looks like by doing the following modifications. Before I do that, let me show you something. I can go here to sketch on the back side, and I can convert entities, and I want to convert that edge right here. It's essentially taking that edge, projecting it on that face in here, and I'm going to extrude also by 5 millimeters. That way it's a nice coin on both sides. And because this is a coin, it looks like a little bit of a gear, right? It has like a little ridged edge. So what we can do is go here to sketch, to the face, do a center line that goes, all right, I'm gonna draw a line like that. That way I have a nice idea of where we are. And what I'll do is the following thing. I can just, this is a very simple way of doing it, by the way. I can just draw a little circle that goes like that, 5 millimeters as an example, right? And then I can just extrude that, say, actually, I could just do it, yes, I can extrude just by 5 millimeters. In fact, I could do the same thing here. I will do the same thing there. Let me just make sure I'll select that point. I'll hit Control and select that line, and I will make them coincident. And then I'll select this, Control that, and I'll make them equal. And now, yes, I will extrude by 5. Perfect. Now you have a nice little edge that looks like that. And then we can do a circular pattern of what? Well, of this feature, that extrude direction. I want you to go around like that. And say I want 50 of those. Maybe more, honestly. We could do, let's see, 100. How would that look like? A little too much, but I think that would look kind of neat, honestly. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's keep it at 50. That looks kind of nice because then you have a nice little pattern for the coin, and we can replicate the exact same thing on the other side. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'll go here to mirror. Actually, here I can go to plane, and I can create a plane that is, it's gonna split this thing in half, and then I will mirror. What am I gonna mirror? Well, that pattern and that extrude. So now you have the exact same thing happening right there. And you can either do a little detail where there's like a line maybe being traced out through the middle. I think that you can, very easy to do. You can go here to sketch, sketch, and I can do a little circle. Let's see if I can just trace a line that goes all the way like that. So you can trace a circle that goes maybe up to there, and then another circle that goes more, it doesn't matter. Suppose that's, that one is 400, I don't care. Meanwhile, that one 295. And what I can do is, all right, I want to extrude by 5, and then I want to extrude by 5. So extrude cut in both directions. Let's see how would that look like. There we go. Something. So now it looks like maybe that's a little bit too much. What I could have done is say 2.5, and 2.5. That way it's all pretty uniform. There we go, just like that. And again, just hide that tool in there. So now it has a nice, pretty, clean. It's going to look a little bit more complex, sadly. And it didn't take too much work to get it to this point. Then I can do a little sketch in here. And maybe we can. I always like drawing a line that way I can find the origin of this thing. We can get one circle like this. Yeah, 190 seems all right. So that's where I'm gonna draw the Mickey, and then on an equivalent circle on the other side, I'm gonna put the sorcerer. So I'm gonna bring this one up by 5. That way it's in line with what we had earlier. And then we can add like some chamfers to make it look pretty. We can maybe add a little bit of decoration around this. And we can do the same thing here. Let's go here to sketch, sketch. We're actually gonna convert entities, that same thing. I want to extrude by 5 perfectly. Okay, I can go here to sketch. There we go, just like that. We could draw a little circle. You can say, right, I want the distance between here and here to be 115, whatever. Say that. I want that to be 30. And I can make a circular pattern where this goes, maybe again, extrude inwards by 2. And we can add a little of decoration. For instance, here, we can make that 5. Actually, in both directions, we can make that 5. And actually, I'll make it 1 in this case. Very good, just like that. And I'll make a circular pattern around here. No, not 100, and also instant spacing. We might do 2 directions, right? So in one direction, so let's say I want 5. 15 degrees. No, let's say I want 20 degrees. Let's say 30. No, that's too much. 25. 27. Okay, that looks decent. And what about the other direction? Let's say 4. Also 27. Oh, I see. So it's not particularly symmetric, this design. So maybe I would do that 25 in here, 25 in here. Yeah, which ends up being exactly a quarter, but that's okay. Oh, some for the items. All right, because I'm not. There we go. I have to add the boss extrude. Excellent. Okay, so now on this side, I can either do all of these guys, or I can show you how to write some text, write the number. I can write, right, this is 2025, which is probably what we'll end up doing. Let's do that. That way looks neat in here. So, yeah, this is good so far. So let's go here to sketch, and maybe like that. So you can go here to, where is our friend? The text, there we go. So it's gonna ask you for a curve. I'll write in there, and I'm gonna say 2025. what I'm finding just from doing a little brainstorming is that I cannot move around the text as I can do in other softwares, in particular Siemens NX. So what I'll do is just a little shortcut where I'll just write it instead of being curved, I'll leave it horizontally on these lines that I'm drawing right now. So I'll make sure that these two are parallel and I'll make that perpendicular and I'll make these two equal to each other. And yes, we can maybe leave it like that. 70 is okay. 35. And now yes, I'm gonna just write again. I'm gonna select these two curves for the text. 2025. One more time. Use the font. I did like Calibri as what we'll be using. 100. Okay. Middle. Change it. Very good. Just like that. Let's see, 120. And I can bring this upwards a little bit. Let's see, 120 there. No, 100 was fine. Good. Maybe 42. Let's see. Okay, excellent. I like that in there perfectly. All right, so I can bring that upwards by 2, exactly as we had in there. So this is a commemorative coin for 2025, I suppose. And then we are gonna, there we go. Excellent. Actually, I could just convert entities. That guy right there, extrude by 5 millimeters. Then let's do our chamfer right there by 1. Good. 5, or was it? No, it was 2. I'm gonna come back here, edit, perfectly. Okay. And now we can do our circular pattern where we choose of the chamfer like that, this direction. It was 25, but now we can probably do 7. Oh, right up to there, almost. So we'll do 6. And then the same thing on the other side. 25, 6, what, 5. There we go. Slightly one more. So it's definitely gonna be, you probably don't wanna play, this coin is probably gonna be a little bit, it's not particularly well balanced. So you don't wanna play any bets on it. But if it looks decent, now we're gonna put some pictures in here. So I'll click on save. Actually, the best thing I can do now is I can right click here and where it says body. I can add material property. So we go here to it's not right there. No, it's this one over here. Appearances. No, I want to say metal. We can make it like bronze, like polished bronze, like that. That was like a nice bronze Disneyland Paris coin. It could be gold, it could have been silver. I will leave it like this. But now I'll save it. Actually, I could have done, look, I could do some of these details. For instance, here, that face, we can make it like chrome. The same thing with that face right there. And in fact, I can say that I want that circular pattern to also be chrome. That way there's a little bit more of variety with the colors. Yeah, why not? The like the wording, let's change it a little bit more. Perfectly. Okay, so now we're gonna save this and I'm gonna come back to Sorcerer Mickey. It's not going anywhere. Oh, there we go. So we got our friend our mag in here. Now I'm gonna go here and file, save as, and I'm gonna call this piece Let's go here to, okay, so I've been saving it in here. I'll call it uh, point back side, and you'll see what I mean just a moment. Now, this is gonna be tricky, but it might work. So I'll click on save, and now this is gonna be kind of crazy. But yeah, so coin backside, I'm gonna delete everything that we've done. I'll say yes. And now everything but our Mickey, I'm gonna get rid of. So I'll go. So all of these sketches, one by one, they will disappear. Good. But then let me just bring this one again. But why am I doing this? Because now I can go here to sketch. I'll choose the top plane, a usual top plane, and I'm just gonna draw a circle. Hopefully I'll find more or less where the circle is. I'll just leave it like this. That is roughly gonna be coinciding with the middle of this piece. So I think that looks about right. Maybe a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay, that looks fine. Yeah, I actually, well, actually, I'll probably make this, let's see, 400. Would that be too small? No, 420. Okay, that's excellent. So I'm gonna give this some volume. It doesn't matter how much, say 5, that's okay. And now I'm gonna start literally doing the same thing as usual, extruding layer by layer, building this sorcerer Mickey, but not as a wrap, just as if it was a cake. So I can go here to convert and select chain. That's an important one right there. So I'm gonna select all of the exterior of our Mickey, even though I could maybe I'll build it in a similar way to before. I'll say okay, and I'll give it 1 millimeter. Why not? Just like that. Boom. You can see how. Actually, I'll give it even less. I'll say 0.1. I'll be building very tiny layers. Okay, to sketch now top face, and now even easier. Convert entities. So now we're gonna convert pretty much all of exactly all of these guys. But this is gonna be yet one more layer that we're gonna build on top. Like that, very good. And I don't care about colors this time because everything's gonna be the same color. Yeah, that should be fine. Um, yes, I think like this. Boom, boom, boom. So this is maybe we should have started with this because it is way easier. But you see, now the good thing about having these sketches already done is that now using them is super simple. It's not complicated at all. I hope. We'll see in just a second if my theory is correct. I think I'll leave the hat for now because that tends to be slightly trickier. As for the yes, I want to bring that up. As for the face, I think we could probably do it now. Yeah, that's gonna remain there. Okay. Good. Yeah, so it's gonna take a minute until it's done converting all of these lines. So let's give it a second. But essentially what we're gonna do is once it's done, just like this, I go here to features and I start selecting, all right, I wanna bring this up, I wanna bring this up, I wanna bring this up, I wanna bring this up. Oh, well, probably there's a problem right there. Bring that up, just like that. That one, I'll figure it out later what's going on. I'll bring all of these guys, all of these different details, just like that. They're free. So way easier than doing the wrap command, as you can tell. We're gonna bring it by 0.1. And boom. Yeah, so now we need to figure out why didn't this one go through? So I'll do another sketch of this face like that. Let's see. Oh, it was the classic. There we go. It's okay. Boom. So if I were to hide that for a moment, you see that now our Mickey is almost done. Very simple, as you could probably tell. So this is awesome, honestly. And it's gonna be the same color as what we had earlier. But we still have to do the hat right here. So I'm gonna go here to sketch. So we're gonna convert. So what's a good way of doing this? So we can do it by layers. So let's do these guys first. And also that. Now I'm gonna trim. This is a command that I've been using. I haven't explained it well, but trim is essentially when I wanna cut stuff. I use trim to closest, so I just get rid of lines that I don't need, just like that. Boom. So we're gonna bring it in layers. So we'll start with this layer right here, and then sketch on this layer. We're gonna do the exact same thing. So that star. Oh, convert that line. Select chain. Boom. Very good. And we'll do the usual like that, and then trim to closest. We're gonna get rid of unnecessary lines. Terrific. Okay. And now let's bring it up by 0.1. Good. And now, yes, we can hide this and leave it like that. Actually, let me check. Oh, I think I realized something very important that I do need to bring this back is that, yes, technically, the hat, like all of that, is like a black line. So maybe I should have brought that downwards. Okay, so I'm gonna. It was a bad strategy. I think I know how to fix it. Yes. So we're gonna start again. We're gonna convert. There we go. So we're gonna start with these guys. Excellent. We're just gonna bring it down. Okay. Let's see. What I wanna extrude is this area. There we go. All of those areas. I want to extrude these. I mean, I could also extrude them upwards instead of downwards. Let me see. Yes. Yeah, let's do that directly. Um, I'll just hide this for a second. All right, but I still need to extrude downwards. I see. Okay, so let's. That's why I'm glad I left the hat for the very last one because it is the trickiest one in my opinion. Let's do those guys. like that. Now let's trim here, let's trim there, let's trim there, and now I'm gonna extrude this area just downwards by zero point 0.1. Now, yes. Oh, thank God. Okay, now yes, we have our sorcerer Mickey right there, and the next thing I'm gonna go do is go here to body, and we said it was brushed brass, if I'm not mistaken, or bronze. I will change it to brass because I kind of like brass a little bit better. Excellent. So I'll save it. I'm gonna go back to here. I'll change the body. There we go. To brass. Looks a little bit nicer this way. Okay, so that's good. Now we can go here to evaluate, measure, and that is 180. Okay, that's good. So what I can do is the following thing. I can go here to file, insert, and I think I can insert the part. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We insert the back side. Yes, it looks interesting. And there's a couple of things I can go here to. It's an unconventional way of doing this, but it's okay. And I think it's in features. I can go here to like move. Um, I can like rotate this thing around. Um, Maybe I'll go here to tools. Or is it like features? Move, copy. Maybe I can do this. Um, let's see if I choose this face and that face, what happens? Uh, yeah, I think that's about right. And then I can say, right, I want this and that to be concentric. Okay, add. I also want to rotate this thing. So let me see. All right, save. Sure. Oh no. So I'm gonna. Oh, there we go. It was as easy as just there we go. It was there was a button down there that said move, rotate around. So now I think this is gonna be way simpler. So I can just rotate this. Yeah, that's about the height. We're gonna do a 180 here around. Mm, mm, mm. One. Is that what I want? No. Yeah, so let me show you exactly. So go here to insert, then features, and then go to move copy. And down here it says translate rotate. So you go here and say, all right, I want to rotate by 180. There we go, 180. That's about right. And then maybe like that. I can say, okay, good. Yeah, I think that looks kind of nice. And then I can go right now again, insert features, move, and I can say translate. Well, it's not move. I can go here to constraints. I can say, all right, I want to maybe these two faces. I'm gonna make them coincident. I don't want to move him. Let me delete. I can say that face. Then maybe. Hmm. Uh, oh, bodies to move. It's obviously gonna be that one. There we go. That was a big mistake from my behalf. There we go. Say add, and now you could also say yes. It is still. Let's save it. Okay, and now let's do one more. So here, insert features where we are, and then move. Bodies to move that. And then made, I want to make this and that. There we go. Add, save. Excellent. Okay. Now we got it. Now you see this is way bigger than what it's supposed to be. But we know that we have to make this diameter be 180. Very easy. You go here to insert features and then scale. So yes, around the centroid, that's fine. And I mean, there's multiple ways with which I could scale this. I'm gonna scale it uniformly, and I know that that was 420, so I'll say 180 over 420. Let's say okay, and now it brings it right there. In fact, I can just scale it here. I can leave it like that. On the y direction, actually, let me tell you. Yes, on the y direction, I can scale it even more. I can say, right, I want this to be 0.02 as an example, right? That way it's like uber thin. You would barely realize our making there. But look, that is kind of neat. And actually, I can right click here, add appearance to that body, and then go here to brush. I make it brushed brush. I'll click here and save. That looks neat. Gorgeous. Okay, so now that we've got that one done, let's bring that face of Mickey and let's put it in here. So let's finish up this CAD model. I'm glad that this actually ended up working out quite nicely for our 2025 commemorative coin. Or something that attempts to be. It's like a euro coin, honestly. All right, so let's go here to sketch over here, and now our usual tools, sketch tools. I know. Where is it? Sketch tools. There we go. Sketch picture. And we're gonna bring Mickey face. Now our friend Mickey face is too big, so I can just scale it. I mean, there's multiple things that I could just draw it somewhere else, um, and then bring it here. In fact, that wouldn't be a problem at all. I could try sketching as a separate body. It's not my ideal way of doing it, but you know what? Let's give it a shot. Of course, why not? So suppose I'm gonna draw it here as an example, right? Just in case I want to move things around. So I'll say save, and I'm gonna draw a circle that's gonna represent approximately. There we go. So that circle is gonna contain the Mickey face. Okay. I'll save it as 140. And now let's start tracing all of this out. I could have done it in a separate sketch, but I'm doing it on this sketch. So let's do it quickly. I'll probably speed this part up. That way you don't have to be bored watching me do all of this. So now we got our mic in here, so we have to be very careful about how we go about this process of extruding, and it's not too complex per se, the face, but we'll give it a shot. I think we can directly go here to features, and actually I'm kidding. I'm gonna go here to sketch, and we do need to select that face, but that's where we originally started from. I'm gonna convert that line. I'm gonna extrude, say, by 1 millimeter, or say, actually, yeah, 0.10 is fine. But you will see that I'm not gonna merge results. I'm gonna make this a separate body. So we've always been merging, which means that every single feature that we've added, it was somehow related to, you're building a cake on top of each other, so everything is related to each other, right? It's as if it's just one single solid. In here, especially because it's right here by its own on the right, we're gonna just uncheck that box in there and merge it, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a moment. Essentially, it's going to create another body that then we can play around with to move towards where we need to go. So go here to sketch on this face, and I'll convert the chain. So let's start, yes, with the outer side, just like that. Okay, very good. So I'm gonna just give it 0.1. That's fine. Let's start next with the face right here, so I can convert that guy right here. Yes, that looks all right. Yeah. Oh, I see. Actually, I need to, so let's go here to convert. I'll take the chain. Perfect. But I need to trim. Where's our friend? But you don't want that. There we go. Now that's fine. Excellent. Yeah, I don't need any of those, but I do need this. And that I'm gonna bring upwards by 0.1. Good. Now we're gonna sketch. Oof, sketch right here. And we're gonna make the nose. So convert entities. Actually, no, I think the nose is fine. We're gonna make this little area right here. So convert that line, that line, that line, and that, just like that. I'm gonna trim this area right there. Boom. Now sketch. We're gonna do the same thing with the eyes. So convert those guys right there, and then trim like that, and then we can also convert those circles. And we're gonna probably extrude by 0.2. That way it's noticeable. Okay, so where are we? I think it's a good moment to maybe suppress the picture, but I cannot see much. Let's see there. So now I think we need to do the tongue. Let's see where. Because I think the tongue is the last thing that's missing. Okay. So let's go here to sketch. Oh, I see. So I need to not only the tongue, it's the mouth too. So we need to first make all right, so we're gonna first take care of that by 0.1. And now we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna convert those two. Excellent. And now trim that side, that side. Bring it up. There we go. And now, yes, again, hide. And yeah, we got a Mickey. Okay, very good. So now that's Mickey's face. I like it. I'll save this, and technically all the exact procedures that we just applied should be applicable here. So here's what we'll do. We'll go here to File, Insert, Features, Move, where is it, in here. So bodies to move that, okay, it correctly identifies that. So I think it's already in the same place. What I'm gonna do is this concentric mate, where I'm gonna make this and that be concentric, good. Add, I'll say okay, and that's it. That's pretty much all that I want. So now I'm gonna make this way bigger. So we'll go here to insert, features, scale. Where are you? Uh, there we go. Scale. I'm gonna choose that guy. And now, well, it's a good point to maybe go here to evaluate. See, all right, what is this diameter right there? So maybe let's go back to the original sketch. It's a good time to maybe make that something, yeah, like 140 as an example. It's not gonna change things much, but whenever we go here to insert scale features, scale, um, there we go. The uniform scaling is gonna be 180 over 140. We'll leave it like that. You see now how it fills up everything right there. And for that body, I'm gonna go back here, make it brushed. Well, I could make some parts of this, say, the face, could make it chrome. I'm just gonna play around, adding some colors to see, right? What if this was possible? But I'm honestly not not entirely sure whether you could make a mint such that like all of these colors that we are adding right now could be could shown. So this is like, yes, you're making like the negative a different color. But it looks pretty this way, honestly. We go. It's fine. Ah, yeah, we'll leave it like that. I'm not sure whether I like it better like this or better with. Let me do Control Z. Better if I made this, let's say, face Chrome. I think I like it better like that. Yeah, so it would have been simpler. There we go. And on this guy, it's the same thing. Actually, well, hold on. Maybe, yes, I'm not fully, let's just make everything. Let me just go here. Yeah, that body. No, it's face. Wrong. That way there's a nice contrast between the There we go. Is it real quick? Yeah, I don't like the dual colors. I think it's gonna look way better if we add just like that. Yeah, so a lot of CAD is the nicest. Actually, maybe that might not be needed. Let me take a look at the original. Yeah, that's a corner. Okay, that's good. So a lot of CAD is repetition, is doing things over and over again, and that's how you get it better at it. Like practice, iterating. Um, but I'm pretty satisfied with the results. Like our commemorative coin, I really didn't know what to expect. I think this looks decent. I hope you liked it. I'm gonna be uploading this very much in just a moment. But yes, feel free to download that and experiment on your own. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in person soon.